This is a demonstration of the orthographic project. You'll find a link on the website, on the Canvas website, and you will be drawing this shape and two other shapes following. I am going to do the demonstration on the first shape, and you guys should be able to do all three. So the first view that we're going to draw is the top view, which is this top side here, and then the front view, which represented by looking at the shape from standing in front of this shape, looking that way, and then the third view will be the right side view, looking that way. Alright, so you guys should all have your 11 by 17 sheet of paper. Originally this assignment was to be done on an 8.5 by 11, so you guys should be able to just fold your paper in half and kind of use half the sheet for assignment drawing 1, and then drawing 2, and then you can use your third sheet for the third shape. So in this particular shape, or the drawings or the dimensions that are on the handout are in inches. So we are drawing this in actual size. This cube happens to be a 3 inch by 1.75 inches by 2 1/4. So you'll be drawing in a 1 inch equals 1 inch scale. So you could just simply use the 1 inch scale. So you got 0, and then instead of this being 1 feet in architecture, we're just going to call it 1s because it's just 1 to 1. So I'm going to draw the top view, which is really this shape here, and I'm going to use a pen so that you can see it on my recording. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw this shape, which in effect should look something like that. Okay, so I'm going to first draw this side here, which it tells me that's 1 3/4 inches. So I'm going to start maybe somewhere here, and I'm going to go, this is 1/4, 1/2, 3/4 inch, so my inch stops somewhere here. So I'm going to do that. Well, actually, I should kind of lay out some kind of guidelines. You know what? I'm going to use a pencil really quick so I can see. So this line should be 2 1/4. So I'm going to go from 0, 1, 2 inches, and then 1/4 inches here. And I'm also going to measure 2 1/4 this way so that I can get a clean vertical line. I'm going to remeasure 1 3/4 inches. Somewhere here. And then I will measure the thickness of the top piece, and it's measuring 3/8 of an inch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cheat a little bit, because if I had an inch scale like this, if I had a 1 inch like a regular ruler, I don't know if you can see it on the screen, but you know, this is divided into 16th, 1/8, 1/4, 1/2, so this would have been much easier. But I'm also, if I'm using my scale, I can just go to my 1/8 inch scale, because I know that each one of these equals 1/8 of an inch. I'm just going to go 3/8, which is from 0, 1, 2, and 3. So I guess it's a little hack, I guess, if you are using a scale instead of a ruler. 1, 2, and 3. Here. So I'm just going to draw some guidelines. Just about done. So I essentially have like an outline of this C shape as a whole, and then after that I just want to figure out where this notch is, which is representative of that shape right there. And I am 1/2 inches in from this corner. So I'm going to go back to my 1-inch scale. And this is 1 inch, and half of that is 1/2 inch. So I'm going to come back in here and measure 1/2 inch. That's just about there. And then I'm going to take a darker pencil. In this case, I'm using a pen. And I am going to darken in my lines. I overshot it here. So that would represent, from top view, this shape. And of course, this part of the surface is much lower, so it should be drawn much lighter. With my ink pen, it's not going to be so easy to do. I will try it, but so draw. Nope, it's pretty much almost the same color. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to come back in and darken it, just so that you guys can see visually what a difference it makes when you have good line weight. Meaning, objects that are closer to your eye or to your view, it should be darker. I'm going to just put a double line here. And then you can see that this surface right here is further away from this surface if you're looking from the top side. So that's this surface right here is this surface, and that's much lighter. And then this is kind of like a medium weight, right? And so this is what the top view would look like of this particular shape. So now we're going to go on and draw the front view. And because we have these measurements already, like if I'm standing from this way, we're going to use this as a leverage to kind of set up our drawing. So I'm simply going to take this side of my shape, which is over here, and just extend that line down. And this side of my shape is kind of equivalent to this surface, isn't it? This guy here. So I should be able to just extend that line down straight. And I'm going to extend this line down and that line. So I have these 4 lines extended down. I just need to establish just a reference ground plane or ground line. So let's just say my shape, this line represents this line here. All right. And then now I just need my vertical dimensions. I do know that this shape is 3 inches tall. So I'll go from here, 3 inches. So I'm going to go to my 1-inch scale. And 3 inches is up here. And another 3 inches. I do know that this shape is this tall. This thing here is 1.5 inches from the top down. So I'm going to go from the top. I'm going to come down 1.5 inches. Which is right here. Nothing is somewhere there. And from here to the bottom seat, if you will, is 3/4 of an inch. So from the 1.5 inches, I'm going to come down another 3/4 of an inch. So then I'm going to start darkening my outline. So this guy should go from here to here. And here's the bottom of my seat, right at this line here, which represents this line here. So I'm going to make sure my line goes from the top of the seat. So I kind of have my outline drawn of what this shape looks like straight on in front view. You can see this guy is here, that guy is here, this guy is here, and this shape is there, and this rear shape is there. So when you study this front view, this is the view, this is the side that is closest to you, and then this is medium, and that's light. So now we're going to darken it in and detail this thing out. So again, the lines that are closest to you, you want it to be super dark. So I'm just going to put a double line here for. In your case, if you're using a pencil, you should just be able to make a darker line. It would only be this line that's in front of you. I'm going to make it super dark, you can see. So when you make a line darker, it looks like it's closer to your view, and then this line is much lighter. So this line should be darker too. So there you have it. So that would be the front view of this shape. And now we're going to do the right side view. And let me see. We could actually use a little bit of a trick is by using a 45-degree angle. So on your grid paper, you can just connect the corners of your square. So I'm going to, let me see, I want this to project here. Yeah. So I'm going to take, let's say, some squares on this side here. If I go diagonally across, that's a 45-degree line. And just think of it as a mirror plane. So basically, I want to draw this side of my shape, which is looking this way. So if I, just like I took these lines straight down, if I take these lines straight across and then bring them straight down, it's equal to me doing the same thing here. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So I'm going to take this front edge of this shape, seems to be about here, and I'm going to take it all the way across. And you see where it intersects my 45-degree angle? And I'm going to take this shape also. And then I'm going to take that. And the last line. Trying to keep the line straight here. So you can see I took 1, 2, 3, 4 lines across. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the first line comes and intersects here. So I'm going to take that line and using my grid paper here, because it landed on that grid line, I'm going to take it all the way down. I'll draw it a little bit darker so you can see it. I think you can see it. And I'll take the second line, which intersects somewhere here. Not quite on my grid line, but I can kind of eyeball it here and take this line down. Of course, back in the olden days, we had a drafting square, so everything was lined up, but you guys can eyeball it. It's not a problem. And then take that line, and luckily it hits one of my grid lines, so I can just trace that grid line all the way down. And then the last one does hit my grid line also. So now, in effect, is if I rotated this thing and then dropped all these lines just like that. And then now I have my ground line, so I know where my object sits, which is on this line here. And then if I wanted to draw this line here, I know that it's the same as this line, which is this guy. So I can just project that line all the way across. Somewhere here. Oh no, somewhere here. So it's here. And then it goes up, and then it goes across. So I'm pretty much done. I have all my lines kind of tracked out. So you'll see it'll come together once I start darkening my lines. So here's the base. This thing goes all the way up to the top. And I'll just draw the other side for now, just so that you start seeing the shape. And then this line here is that line, which is equal to that line. And then this line here, which is equal to this, no, let me see, this line. So if I lose it, here. So here's my view, looking at it this way. Now the only thing I have left to do is to really detail it out, just to talk about what the shape is doing. So you can see this L shape here is closest to my view if I'm looking this way, which is here. So that's what I want to make darker. Okay, and then this little rectangle you see is just kind of a sliver of this side here, because you don't really get to see this side because it's covered by that shape. All right. Now, if you want to do kind of one more layer of communication, this has a seat down here that is low, but you can't really see it. But if you want to represent that, hey, there is a thickness to the bottom of this shape, all you need to do is actually just transfer this horizontal line. And in drafting, if you draw a dashed line, it represents a hidden line, or things that you can't see that are either behind an object or above your drawing plane. So you can do something like this, which represents that, hey, there is another seat behind this shape. Okay. So that was our demonstration today. Let me get it on the frame. For drawing orthographic projection view. So your job will be to recreate this, what I just did here. And also, of course, it gets a little bit more complicated, but you are to do these two shapes. Before I let you guys go, though, I'm going to kind of share with you conceptually what to do here. Because I'm not giving you the angle of this object. So what you're going to do is you're going to draw this side, and I'm just going to freehand it. So let's say that side is that long, and you're going to draw this bottom, and this here, and then you're going to go up, and then I've given you this dimension, so you're going to come back down. And then I've also given you this dimension, so you're going to come here. And then all you're going to do at that point is to just connect the two loose ends, and that's how you're going to get your shape. So this shape kind of should look something like that, in front view. And of course you're going to draw it in top view and all that other stuff. The top view, really, even if I project these lines down, I'm going to make it skinnier. It's much taller than it is. But this line represents these two. That line, so that represents the sloping angle. It's sloping downwards now. And then this slot is somewhere here. And then this thing is somewhere here. Oh, it's back. Like that. So your top view of this thing, just as a hint, should be looking like this, because this shape is coming towards you. This is a slot, which is this slot right here. Let me just darken up these lines. And then this is your kind of the darkest line, because that's this top shape that's kind of facing you. Okay? Alright guys, hopefully this was enough information for you to kind of finish this assignment. This orthographic view is basically how we represent kind of what we're designing in a flat perspective. And in a sense that a floor plan is really an orthographic view of a house, meaning if you have a house, and how do you represent the floor plan of that house, you know, where the door is and where the window is? Well, what we do is we cut this thing in half and then draw looking down at it. So this floor plan would look something like, maybe it's a square box with the walls, you know, the thickness of the walls, and this window would be here, and this door would be somewhere here, and we say the door opens, right? So that would be a floor plan. So a floor plan is really an orthographic view, basically a top view of any shape that you're designing. And then, of course, elevation, which is the front view, would be the front view of the house. So in a sense, you know, that would be the elevation, right? So hopefully these 3 exercises will be a good introduction to orthographic projection, and I will see you next time.